Hello. Now, I suddenly realised this morning I put these slides together on the train, and when I got here I couldn't remember what was on them anymore. So that tells you something about mobility, doesn't it? I could kind of go through lots of different areas that kind of my research connects to mobility, but I'm not going to do that like other people have done today. I'm going to focus in, but I'm broadly interested in how people are mobile, but also how that's connected to the way that knowledge is mobile and how organisations are kind of constituted. So that connects to lots of debates, but today I'll perhaps think a little bit about some of the ways my work connects to some of those questions about futures that have come up, but also about the role of technology. So two projects at various stages, one that's finished recently, another one that's ongoing. So on the left, a project that puts at its kind of centre the question about business travel, which in some ways is quite boring. But in doing so tries to kind of get away from just studying business travel itself and connect it to a broader interest in the kind of socio-technical systems that constitute mobility. So how we think about mobility needs to be understood through discussions of kind of relationships to technology, but also to social practice, to questions of organisation and the economy. So really kind of using mobility as a way into a broader set of questions. And the second project on the right, which was finished recently, a similar kind of thing, but putting everyday mobility at the centre, so what people do when they go to work or recreation. But instead of, again, just looking at the mobility, thinking about all of the connections to transport systems, communication technologies, and social practices again. I can't exactly remember what's on the next slide, I told you, you see. So what we're seeking to do in that is broadly think about this socio-technical system and the centrality of mobility in that, but how it's become constituted to be so ingrained in everyday life and what that might tell us about the future. So a little bit like Nicola, looking kind of historically to think how the car parking space has become so normal. We kind of look at how doing business travel, how driving to work has become so normal, how that's constituted, and think about what that might tell us about the future. So what might happen, more mobility, less mobility, different types of mobility? How's that related to developments in technology, changing social practices, changing kind of discourses around carbon, etc. Okay. Now to do that, we use a range of kind of approaches. So some boring interviews again, but also things like video, GPS tracking. We've experimented using blogs, Facebook, etc. to capture kind of different types of insights into how mobility is kind of ingrained and constituted in this kind of socio-technical system in everyday life. So a number of kind of eclectic projects that are trying to pull together this kind of common theme around this kind of this systemic nature of mobility.